All right, time now for our roundtable discussion. It is the playoff edition of the roundtable discussion. I'm joined by the voices of the Wampus Cats, Levi Gilbert and Tim Roach. And guys, tonight it is the beginning of the playoffs for us. Rogers already has a game under their belt, but we've got some wounds that we've got to take care of. We got to lick before we get on the field. How the last 2 weeks gone? You think for the Wampus Cats since Bryant?
Well, I don't know that we're gonna know until this game starts, really. I mean,
True.
because that's gonna be the tell of the tape is how quickly can you put that behind you and play to your capabilities tonight against Rogers, because that's the thing, right? I mean, we got to just let that go. I mean, I've gone back through the film, and man, that first half there were a lot of good things that happened, and then I'm just not even going to talk about the second half. But I mean, honestly, it's like you gotta leave that where it was and move forward. That's really all you can do right now, because anything you're going to do to try and fix that Bryant problem you can't really do right now. You gotta face the team in front of you so that you have a shot to get back to the Bryant problem again. And I think we're gonna know just how quickly we start tonight if any of that's still lingering.
I think that it's going to be an opportunity for us, though. Buck James talks about this, and this is such a great line that he uses, which is you learn from losses, and so there were plenty of things to do over the last 2 weeks about that, but we also have to learn from winning, and so that's kind of the key with the Conway team is we don't necessarily learn very well when we're winning. We just kind of get a little full of ourselves, and I think in the second half, once we got punched in the mouth, to use his words, we just didn't respond. That was a little disappointing, and I know the guys were disappointed. And I think what he said about the last 2 weeks was they focused on just getting better and moving through the paces and trying to be better at all phases. We got whipped offensively and defensively at Bryant.
Well, and Levi, your point is a good one. We're not going to know. We think we know, but we don't know for sure until tonight. So let's talk about tonight. Before we get into Rogers, let's talk about our team. How are we looking? How are we feeling? What are you guys hearing about the health of players just as we go into this week?
Yeah, I think what we've heard from coach is that it may be the healthiest we've been since, back in the non-conference schedule. We've got a few players back this week that we didn't have at Bryant. Max Owen is back in the lineup. I think we really missed having his presence on the field
Yeah.
in that offense. Even someone like Landon Berry, who we thought was done for the season, he's back this week, and that's really going to help out on the offensive line. So we've had two players this year that we thought were out for the whole season,
Yeah.
and Landon Berry and Will Moore, that are going to be back tonight, and I would expect that we might see some good contributions from Will Moore too at running back. So,
Good.
there's big questions still at the quarterback spot, and I don't know that we have an answer on that yet. Hopefully we'll see an answer tonight, but either way, it's you got to go with who you got at that position, and both guys have done a good job throughout the year. But it'd be nice if we could see number two back out there as well.
Yeah.
I would hope that our mental health is better after the Bryant game as well. That's going to be interesting to see.
Good point. Real good point. Well, let's talk about this Rogers team. Just glancing at some stats, they haven't given up a point since November 1st. Now, granted, they Rogers Heritage in Southwest, but still, they've a couple of shutouts that they've thrown. They've scored more points than anybody else in the 7A West. So this is a pretty formidable opponent that's going to be on the field across from us tonight.
Yeah, and it all starts with their quarterback, Jeff Regan, and he's a little bit smaller guy when you look at like our quarterbacks. We've got two really tall quarterbacks back there. That's not really Regan's stature, but man, he just makes everything go in their offense, running the ball and passing the ball. I mean, he's had two games this year. One, he had over 300 yards rushing, and then another game he had over 200 yards rushing. There may have even been more 200-yard rushing games. I'd have to look back, but he's just really done it, and they have a really great tight end as well. Good receivers. Their tackles are big, and it's strange though, because I look at the numbers. And I've had this conversation with Tim. It's like I look at the raw numbers, and then I watch the film, and it's like something's just not quite lining up to me with what I'm seeing versus what they've done. And I think Tim's point was astute, is like Well, that's just the sign of good coaching and just having your guys coached up really well. So if anyone's coming into this game tonight thinking, oh, it's Rogers, it's the Rogers team we played 4 years in a row back a few years ago and we just beat them like a drum, I would not come into this game with that mindset. Or if you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to come out tonight, I'll just watch it at home because maybe I'll get another chance to see the Wampus Cats this year. I don't know if I would play that game because this is not the same Rogers team that we've seen before.
And defensively, they are a lot like PA. They're deeper than PA, and so that's a little bit of a trouble. But defensively, they scheme to blitz at all angles. They really come out. They're willing to give up a couple of good plays like PA was. We'll give up some plays to you because all we want is the ball back. We want to get on offense. And so they chaotic is the word for their defense. They'll rush 6, 7 guys, and they come from all angles. Your middle linebacker could be rushing around the outside edge. It's a weird deal, and you've got to get eyes on players. You got to be very, very aware of what's going on with what they're doing and try to pick the guy out that's going to be the problem. So we've got some things we've got to do. We've got to recognize some things on offense to keep them at bay from their blitz. They sacked the Fayetteville quarterback like nobody's business when they played them. They were only a 3-point game at Fayetteville. So they're a different team. We're going to be very, very fortunate to get out of here with a win.
All right, guys, thanks. Tonight, 6:30 pregame show. About 6:50, we'll go live to the stadium and join the guys. And then tonight at 7, it is the kickoff of Rogers and Conway, the quarterfinals of the 7A state playoffs. It's tonight on Conway Corp.